Greetings, faithful followers. This is your old pal, Brother Jack Angry, bringing you another edition of Movie Night Live from the Monastery of Mayhem, along with my co-host, Brother James.
What's up?
Inferna, the cougar from hell. And we have a special guest with us today, a good friend of the show, and Inferna's personal servant.
Yep.
Rob the Zombie, and you may recognize Rob from some of our live, our man on the scene spots that we've done at the Nightmare on Q Street and others, and hopefully you'll be seeing us there again real soon. Now, tonight's movie is a great movie. It's one of the first forays into the comedic zombie film.
1985.
Yes.
What a good year 85
Yes,
was.
the 80s, you know.
80s.
Life was good, Reagan was in the White House, gas was under $1 a gallon.
And America ruled the world.
And America, yes, and everybody lived in fear of America.
And it was okay to be naked at the tombstone.
That's right.
The graveyard.
It was good to be naked in the cemetery.
Still is.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
On a tombstone.
Yeah.
Yes, we'll have to ask our friend Daisy Train about, being naked in cemeteries. Inferno knows what I'm talking about.
That would be the radio show, wouldn't it?
Yes,
That's
yes,
what
it
happens
would.
when I sleepwalk.
You can do a tombstone dance. I don't care. Knock yourself out.
I'm sure we can get
No
some road
problem.
flares.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like,
Just wear tights up to here,
We're-
nothing else.
We still have
No
acid rain
problem.
anyway. It's not going away. It's not going to matter.
yes, and before we get into a discussion on what we're doing to the environment, let's get on with the review. Now, that is correct. It is 1985's Return of the Living Dead, starring Don Calfa,
James Karen.
Thank you,
And Clu Gallagher.
and Clu Gallagher,
And
and Linnea Quigley as Trash.
Trash. Love trash.
Yeah.
Trash.
Trash.
Yes.
Pink hair.
Trash.
And this movie, to start with the plot of this movie, a mishap occurs at the Unita Medical Warehouse. The
Yeah.
Unita Medical Supply Warehouse.
Yeah.
Sound it out,
Sound it out.
Yes. Basically, the inept stock boy Freddy, along with his boss
Hank. Frank or Hank?
Frank,
Frank.
played by
Because
James
I like
Karen.
Frank. I love Frank.
They accidentally open a vat of the chemical trioxin, which releases a gas into the air, overcoming the two idiots and turning them into zombies, although they don't know that yet. Also in the tank is the remains of one of the original George Romero zombies, as the movie claims to be based on Romero's Night of the Living Dead.
That would be Tarman, right?
Tarman, yes.
Tarman. Go Tarman.
Yes, Tarman, one of the great zombies.
Brains!
Yeah.
Rain. We don't say that. Brains, more brains. We don't say that.
Yeah, I know, it did sound like he was speaking through...
That would be like Brother James walking around going, "Pizza! More pizza! Come on!"
More booze.
More booze!
More booze.
More booze!
Bring more paramedics.
Exactly. Send more bartenders.
Send more cops.
And more strippers.
Yeah, it was Brother... Yes, it was Brother Jack.
Don't do
Send
that.
more hookers.
And I'm not slow. I'm fast. I'll just...
So you're a sprinter, not a shambler.
That thing like this.
Actually, in this movie, they are faster.
Well, yeah, they
Yeah,
are
there
actually.
were several scenes where
Yeah,
the zombies
they
were
They
actually
ran.
running after
We
them.
all do that.
It's like, say what, you guys...
I mean, and
You guys aren't those kind
what's
of
her name?
zombies
Even
that-
had her hips moving.
No, that's
when
an
she was
AMC thing.
Yes.
That's,
Yes,
Dead.
Walking Dead, the Walking
Those are my
Dead.
cousins. They're
The
very
slow
lethargic.
Walking Dead.
And they're
Yes.
stupid.
Yeah, the shamblers, it's like...
Yeah.
Does anyone know why they need to eat brains? Anybody?
Yes, because it takes away the pain. It's the chemical in the brain that makes being dead
Yes,
hurt
you can
less.
feel yourself
And
rot.
I'm here to tell you that being alive right now hurts really bad because I have to be here.
Oh, shut
Because I
up.
have to rack your.
Yeah,
Nards.
exactly.
Yes, it's like, do you want another knee in the groin?
No, please, no.
Okay.
I only
All
have
right,
one
then.
left.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like,
must
I think
be- about it.
yeah, I think the other one popped out.
It must be
could be rolling
protected
around here
at all
somewhere.
costs.
Was kettle time? No.
Man,
Make meatballs out of those
like I said,
babies.
sometimes I feel like Ray Liotta around here.
Yes, Inferna's
Testicle meatballs.
Inferna's got a recipe for matzo ball soup that you should be aware of.
You don't want it. No.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, the matzo ball soups. It's like they're kind of hairy, but
They're like, you know, they're kind of like oysters or mussels, I should say, but more.
Rocky Mountain oysters, deep
Yeah, just-
fried, baby.
Yeah, more oysters.
I like those.
I try to keep mine from being deep fried Monday through Friday on the job. I don't need to have it done here, folks.
Well, that lovely. Well, never mind. I'm not going there. Okay, that was a bad joke. Bad
And
something.
more horror hosts.
Yes, send some original. It's like send some original ones anyway. It's pretty much me.
Yes,
Yeah.
we're not hacking it out around here.
Yes, hack.
We just got weasels jumping around all over the floor.
Ooh, and speaking of weasels, great bit of trivia I found. The scene in Return of the Living Dead. Sorry, don't sue us, George. In Return of the Living Dead, where they dump the rabid weasels into the crematorium.
Yeah.
Then they dump those bags, and the
Yeah.
bags are all. You
Yeah.
want to know what was in the bags? Vibrators. The director of the film used 40
No
rabbit
way.
vibrators in the garbage bags to make that so they would sit there and
Ride
writhe around.
That is sexual
Oh my
abuse.
gosh, that's like
I don't
my-
understand that.
Yeah, it was
What
that.
level of speed
Okay.
was that?
What I want to know is where he got a hold of 40 vibrators. What? He raid the trailers? What? Were there 40 roadies on the show going, where's my shit, man?
Well, no, he purchased them from a
I don't know,
local
but it's a
adult
pretty good.
local adult bookstore. But that's what was
Idea.
in the bag. Where you see the bags
Maybe that's what he
writhing
was
around.
giving away to the crew as parting gifts.
1985, didn't you have to order them out of the back of comic books back then?
Oh, no, they had adult bookstores in 1985. They weren't as common as they are today, but they had them.
Like dairy.
Just assume the positions kind of book.
Yeah, but they must have been turned up all the way. You know, it's like because they was really moving.
Yeah, they were really moving.
Yes, but that's what they were. They weren't. No weasels were harmed in the making of that movie.
I think they just came up with $1 million
Actually, the only
idea.
weasels that were harmed in the making of that movie were the guys that distributed it.
Well, no, they made their money. It was actually a staggeringly popular
Yes, it
film.
was a very popular film.
What was that?
Got butterflies, dolphins, rabid weasels. Sure. $1
Yeah.
million idea.
Yeah, there you
Lions,
go.
tigers, bears, weasels. Oh
Why
my!
don't you just go shoot them in the alley? Well, they're not weasels.
That would be cruel.
We need to
And
talk.
burning them isn't?
That's the best way to talk to someone to break it down quick. We need to talk about something real quick.
Yes,
Because after all, people, the heart is just one big tough muscle.
that's right. We don't want the heart sticking around.
Yeah, it is one tough. Beef jerky.
There you go. Beef jerky.
Beef jerky. Ooh, Jack Link.
Jack Link.
Messing with Sasquatch.
Yeah, the new one's a good one.
Yes. And check out The Awesomes every Thursday on Hulu, everyone. Brought to you by Jack Link's Jerky.
Yay. Okay, now,
Yes, where was I? Oh, yes, the two employees released the zombie, also known as Tarman. The Friends of Freddy, which is consistent of Suicide, the punk rocker. Casey,
yeah, the
I don't know names.
obligatory.
the obligatory cheerleader type.
Yeah.
Well, no, that would be Freddy's girlfriend was the cheerleader
Yeah.
type. Casey was the rocker girl.
Yeah, there you go.
Then you had Chuck the nerd.
Yeah.
You had the two punkers, Suicide, and the other one I can't remember.
Well, who was the black guy?
That
Miguel Nunez.
No, that was what the fuck was his name?
I don't know.
I don't remember, but a little bit of trivia about him when they actually shot that movie. Miguel Nunez was officially homeless and living on the streets of LA.
Oh.
And the money that he earned from the movie enabled him to get back on his feet, get an apartment, get a vehicle, and resume his acting career. So,
and get a haircut.
Way to go, zombies! You know, he owes everything to Return of the Living Dead.
Zombies helping the public since 1985.
That's right.
And you can see the influence of the early dawning days of MTV, because here you got all your new wave / punks, and then you got the one girl that's hanging out with him that's like up in the attic, and she's
Freddie's girlfriend.
And
She
she's
was the only reasonably normal one, you know. It's like, what was she doing?
Yeah, she was.
just
What'd you do to Freddie?
yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
They were all in that experimental stage with new wave and punk.
So did that acid rain, did that affect them at all, or just the
It made their
gases?
skin burn.
It burned their
Just
skin,
burns their
but
skin.
what it did was it soaked into the ground of the graveyard, which in turn, you know,
But
paved
the ones
way.
that are alive.
Right, paved the way for the great emergence scene where everybody's coming up out of the graves.
Which, you know, if you want to technically analyze that scene, that was total bullshit, because it's a known fact that water, because the ground in that cemetery, as old as that cemetery, that ground would have been extremely packed down. And the fact is, this is Louisville, Kentucky, so the soil in and around the Louisville area, just to give you a little information, is mostly hard packed clay. So it would take several months for the water to reach the depth that those bodies would be buried at.
Okay, now
And
you're
Scientifically speaking.
you're wasting scientific theory on this film.
okay, all right, yeah. Well, let's just say Brother Jack is going to call bullshit on that scene, but it was still great to watch.
Bullshit.
Yeah, it's like, it was still great to watch, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, you know, if you want to look at the facts of it, you know, ask somebody who knows geology, and they'll tell you I'm 100% right. But yeah, I'm sorry, I got off on a rant. Pardon me. But yes, the
okay.
film goes on.
At least you work.
Yeah, I do research. I really do. I mean, what else have I got to do? I'm a zombie. I live in a broken down monastery in Omaha, Nebraska. Speaking of which, how the hell did a monastery get in Omaha, Nebraska?
And why hasn't the city condemned it or taxed it?
Well, I keep seeing those notices on the door that say condemned, you know, but I keep ripping them down, and they keep putting them up, and I rip them down, you know. Every once in a while I have to hit somebody in the head with a hammer, you know, to make them go away. Mm-hmm. You know, don't look in the basement or under the carport, you know.
Still haven't gotten that blood off the carpet.
Yes, it's like, yes, that blood ain't coming out, and we've tried everything. We'll have to call Stanley Steamer.
Are you sure that's blood and not
the
just...
trick to that?
I do know the trick to that. I've already called Louise. She hasn't.
It's
come
called
yet.
replace the carpeting, people.
Are you sure this is not the pattern?
I don't know, could be. Could be the pattern.
The last
Yeah,
time...
it's called blood splatter.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, but it's a hell of a Berber, though.
And now they'll start picking lint off the carpets.
Yes, it's like, sorry, OCD acting up, you know. Anyway, the zombies emerge from the cemetery. Suicide, the punk rocker, is one of the first ones to have his brain eaten by Tarman in a very graphic scene, you know. Brains! We love that, you know.
His teeth were perfectly white.
Yes, I know, it's like, and those were actually the real actors' teeth. They didn't use prosthetic teeth on that. Basically what they did, they put a wire appliance up under his lips to pull his lips back, so all you saw was the teeth, and that's why they had the the black tar smeared on his face, so you couldn't see that his lips were pulled back.
Oh.
But it was actually his own teeth, so he had pretty much a set of perfect choppers in his puss.
He must have been like, is he like an old military guy, or
I don't know.
in the tank, or did they ever say what kind of
No,
character
all
he
he said was he was one of the zombies from the original outbreak back in 1968 at the VA hospital.
okay.
So he could have been a
the VA
soldier.
Paying homage.
Yes, paying homage to Romero.
Homage.
And
We love you, George.
Yes, we love you, George. Anyway, you know, just to go on with the story, the group holes up in the funeral home across from the medical warehouse where they run into Ernie, the embalmer, who's doing his thing.
You owe me.
Yes, they proceed to bring Ernie in and explain to him what's going on. So Ernie decides to use the crematorium to get rid of some of the cadavers that have escaped from the medical warehouse, which they do. But then they find out that Frank and Freddy, Frank and
Our
Freddy
cadavers.
are cadavers and have been slowly turning into zombies through this whole thing. Frank decides to take the noble way out by jumping into the crematorium and slamming the door after him, thus cremating himself. Freddy doesn't quite go as quietly. I mean, he just sits there and kind of whines about it and is being a little girly.
Which is funny because Frank was the whiner the whole time.
Yes,
that's why he's so funny the way he's screaming.
Yes.
But then he's the brave one to help.
Well, we saw
Well, actually,
Frank, do his little...
He's burning up and making more stuff.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, he's burning up and just adding to the problem,
Yeah.
But he sits there and does the little prayer thing and puts his little wedding ring on the switch. And, odd, that crematorium, that when he pulled that out, that should have been almost red hot because an average crematorium burns at about 1,500 degrees. So that grate that he pulled out should have been red hot, and he should have pretty much stuck to it. The flesh on his hands would have peeled right off. But yet it didn't. And yet he can jump into it, not be screaming, close the door. And yeah, I know. It's
Just
like
a movie.
Yeah, I know. It's
Take
like
all the fun out of it.
I
Science.
overanalyze this shit. What can I
Real
say?
science.
But anyway, the movie goes on. Frank is dead. Freddy's dead. Or no, Freddy's dead, but he's a zombie. Pretty much all of the punk rockers have been eliminated.
And who lives at the end?
Basically, who lives at the end? The nerds.
Should we not
Actually,
say that?
nobody.
Actually, yes, you're
Nobody
100%
lived at the
right.
end because
Nobody lived at the end because
Yeah.
they
They
nuked.
nuked the town.
They nuked the town. Thank you, military. And the military's answer for everything.
Just a phone call. Yep.
It's like, that's the military's answer for everything. If you can't fix it, you
Nuke.
blow that shit up.
That's right.
And more rain.
That's right, creating more rain. And the president was coming to visit, so you know what he was going to get? Of course, if it was Obama, nobody would really care right now because we don't like him.
We better not go out in public. I mean, that's what happens.
Yes.
They'll see us, and then
You're
they'll
gonna-
drop a bomb
next
on
thing-
all
you're
of us.
just-
Next thing you know,
You're going to have the Secret Service knocking on the door this
Just
time. I
kidding.
don't want to be here for that.
Just kidding, can't take a joke. Joking, see? Joking.
walk down the street, nobody takes me serious yet. Wait till I
Well,
tackle
yeah,
their ass, pull out their intestines, and have them for an hors d'oeuvre.
Yes, it's like we could all end up in Gitmo. Maybe they'll put us in the same
I
cell in
don't want to
Gitmo.
be waterboarded, thank you. Water,
Well, there are some parts of the city where you pay good money for that,
yeah, the
actually.
water screws up a good drink.
Well, that's true.
That's why you don't go heavy on the ice.
And if you're going to have your balls wired to a car battery, it's better to have a hot chick doing it than some CIA guy.
Get to work.
Yes, it's like, is that why Inferna carries those jumper cables around with her? Oh, no. If you're going to do that, we want to put that on YouTube.
YouTube, hell.
Start my own weird science.
We'll put that up on our own site. We'll make some money off it.
Guys, how many of you want to sell? Can we get a show of hands? How many of there want to see Inferno wire her boobs up to a car battery? Can we get a show of hands? Anyone? Okay, well, the motion carries. Get to work.
I can get that done fast.
There you go. But anyway, to get back to the movie here, because we are getting rather off track, pretty much the punk rocker, Ernie and Freddie's girlfriend have holed up in the attic at the funeral home. Freddie is breaking down the door trying to get to Tina. That was her name, Tina.
His girlfriend.
To get to Tina's brains because he can smell her brains and they smell delicious. What exactly does a brain smell like, for God's sakes?
I
I'd
wanna know.
really rather not.
Yeah, it's like that's something I really don't want to analyze right now. Anyway,
Tamale.
there you go.
Tomato, you
Oh,
say tomato.
Tamale. That's like green stuff in crabs and lobsters' heads.
There you.
It's very, very expensive.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay. Well, we weren't aware of that, but thanks for educating us on that, there, Rob. Freddie breaks in just as you hear the bomb. The low yield tactical nuclear bomb coming down. Freddie breaks through the attic door, and that's where they do this
Yeah,
wonderful,
low yield. It only destroyed a couple hundred city blocks.
which is the equivalent of like 3 miles in any direction. So
Low yield nuclear
yeah, that's
bomb.
low yield. It's
Moron.
like it meant the planet was still reasonably intact. It only left a crater only a couple of miles wide.
It is a really good movie. Though.
Yes, it is.
On my
It's
face.
a good 1985 zombie
Yes,
movie.
Yes, I remember driving down to Midlands Mall, the theaters in Midlands Mall, to see that movie. Yes.
Yes. No, we saw it in Blair, didn't we?
No, we saw it in Midlands Mall in Council Bluffs.
Oh, that's right, we did, didn't we?
Yes.
Yes, I don't know where I forgot. Well, yeah, that was a long time ago.
I can't remember where I was when I seen it. Probably at home or something.
Yes,
I
but
didn't go out much.
the film had a really great soundtrack. Some of the bands, I think they had a song from the Misfits on there. There was I can't remember any of the other.
Wanna party?
Yeah, wanna party? That was a good song. The film actually kind of helped kickstart the zombie franchise. Brought the zombies because at the time, what would be released after that would be movies like Dawn of the Dead,
Day of the Dead.
Day of the Dead, the remake of Night of the Living Dead with Patricia Tallman, which was a very good film. Check it out.
Bad.
Return of the Living Dead too.
And yes, they did have, actually they had 3 sequels.
Yep.
There was Return of the Living Dead 2, which was not bad. They tried to continue the original storyline. James Karen was even in it. Playing,
Both of them.
oh, that's right. Freddie came back, but they were playing different characters.
Yeah.
You know, Freddie actually got to eat his girlfriend's brain in that one, but considering what a bubblehead she was, it was probably just an hors d'oeuvre, you know.
A snack. Snacks.
Snacks. But the third one, they went completely off the end of the earth with that one. I mean, they had this girl, pretty hot redhead, nice body, but she was sticking razor blades into her knuckles like weapons and glass into her arms, so she looked like a porcupine in eyeshadow. And then you had the Mexican gangbangers, the chulos getting eaten, you know, the guy's spine being pulled out with his head with the mouth still moving, you know, and all of that. Kent McCord was in that one, you know.
Adam 12.
Adam 12, yes.
Adam 12.
Galactica 1980.
Yeah, you can't live off your residuals forever, can you?
One
man?
Adam 12. One Adam 12. You know, right
Yes,
there. You didn't dodge.
You know, they had a scene where, and the end of that one is pretty much she cremated herself also. So, you know, it's like they were paying a lot of homage to the original one. So the sequels that it spawned were not the greatest, but they weren't that bad either. So we're going to give the Return of the Living Dead, which is homage to the original Night of the Living Dead, we're going to give that 3 out of 5 Reggies here on the show.
3 out.
Yeah, you gotta
Got 4?
you gotta give it.
Well, actually, you know, let's get a consensus here. Can I get a show of hands? 4?
No, 3.
Well, we'll say
5.
Well,
I'm biased too. I mean, I'm in.
yeah, it's okay. I know you're holding up for the home team.
That's right.
All right. Well, we're going to say 4 to 5, grudgingly, because Rob does make some good points. He's holding up for the home
And it's
team.
his cousins.
Yeah. It's like
Don't say more brains. Doesn't happen.
And it's like, yes, I mean, it's like, and how do you zombies get anything done? I mean, you don't really articulate yourselves very well. You just kind of.
Well, and in this movie, they don't die when they hit their brain.
Oh, that's
Did you
right.
notice that?
There were several scenes where they took shots to the head and they just kept right on coming.
Did you see the little midget?
In the Return of the Living Dead, yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, a little bit of trivia. That midget, the one with no legs, he actually had no legs. He was actually a normal-sized person, but because of a car accident he was in, he lost his legs at the knees. So the director was originally going to have him crawling around dragging the prosthetic limbs, but the actor really didn't want to do it, and he complained rather vocally about it. So the director just said, fine, take off the prosthetic legs, and just had him stump around on that. And actually it worked out very well.
Good job, Stumpy.
Yep, good way to go, Stumpy.
It's the part where he's running after the mortuary guy back into the house.
Yep, exactly.
From the ambulance.
Yes,
where you'll see them in.
Number of really great scenes in that film. I mean, the bit with Tarman was excellent. The Trash, doing her little graveyard dance, and yes, okay, let me address that. All right, so I got a question, and maybe Rob can answer this because he's a zombie. All right, Trash tells her little story about the fantasy she has about being eaten by the old men.
Yeah,
but
she
yet,
looks so happy.
But yet, when after that is done and she's dead, but there isn't a mark on her.
I know.
And her skin is this lovely pale gray color.
Yeah.
You know,
peaches and cream complexion.
yeah, and it's like there isn't a mark on her. There isn't a bite taken out of her. What did they do? Break her neck or something? You know.
I don't know. That's a waste of food to me.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, let's face it, we don't want to bloody it. We don't want to ugly up Linnea Quigley. I mean, we got to have the TNA
they're
factor.
biting
in the
something
contract.
else.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. The contract. No teeth marks.
Maybe they're biting her.
Well, I mean, and the old wino's sitting there while she comes wiggling up to him. You know, what is he going to do? Pull out his.
Dip, dip, dip,
Ding,
dip,
dong,
dip.
dong.
Remember, kapow.
Oh, yes. He's going to pull out his.
We love you, Chris.
Yes, love you, Chris. He's going to pull out his hoo-hoo and what? Start like a chimp? I mean, he's sitting there watching this girl come wiggling up to him naked. Apparently, obviously a nice body, but yet he does nothing.
Kill me, I don't care. Yeah.
She's not like
in all
Inferno,
fairness,
she's
you
short.
put away a bottle or two of
Very
Thunderbird, you aren't affected by that stuff anyway.
Ah, Thunderbird.
Thunderbird.
T-Bird.
Thunderbird.
Mad Dog. So like I said, we're going to give Return of the Living Dead, we're going to give it 4 to 5 stars.
That's more like
grudgingly.
That's more like
it had its imperfections, but overall it was a really great movie experience. The sound was great. The acting was okay. The storyline, yeah, if you don't want to analyze it, you know, don't do what Brother Jack does. He researches these movies and then he watches them, and that takes all the magic out of it. Just watch it, accept it for what it is, embrace it, enjoy it. You're not getting those 2 hours of your life back, so just go on and have a good time.
Have a pizza, have some drinks, and enjoy.
Smoke a bowl, have a brew, you know.
Enjoy.
Enjoy.
Enjoy. Because next day is Monday.
Yes, and we all know how bad Mondays are. Well, not for me, because I don't work on them, but still. All right, well, that's going to conclude tonight's episode of Movie Night Live from the Monastery of Mayhem. I'm Brother Jack Angry, along with Inferna, Brother James,
Peace out, homies.
and our special guest today, Rob the Zombie, saying good night, unpleasant dreams, and watch horror hosts Let's Keep America Strong.